Hi, Bruce Johnson, founder of Wired to Grow and the Biz Scalers Club, and today I want to talk to you about the 4 phases of a highly effective onboarding process. Now the good news is that you've hired somebody, and that's very good news because you've made the decision that you want to create some leverage. You want to hire somebody and take advantage of their time, their talent, their treasures, their intellectual property, their connections, etc., to be able to produce a better result for you and for your business, for your customers, etc. So the hiring, good decision. The problem, of course, is that the vast majority of small businesses are really terrible at onboarding. In fact, if we're honest, typically it goes like this. Here's some HR paperwork, fill this out, get the W-4, get the I-9 taken care of, make sure that you take care of this for your retirement, if you have retirement accounts, and here's a quick orientation to the business, and then kind of they're out. Now, why do we do that? Well, in general, it's usually because we're busy people, and we've got a lot on our plate, and we wanted to hire somebody, we got that, we checked that box off, and now we're ready to move on because, well, we hired them as a salesperson, they should know how to do sales. We hired them as a marketer, so they should know how to market. We hired them as a programmer, so they should know how to do the programming. We hired them to do graphic design, or we hired them to be an admin. Like, they should know their stuff, so all I have to do is give them an office or point them that way, or give them a truck or give them a computer and make it happen. So for many of us, it's kind of like we're just checking off the boxes and moving on. The problem, of course, is that rarely allows us to get those people to be highly effective and highly productive really quickly. So the better option is to actually design a process so that they actually become highly effective faster at a better level, and so you get much better leverage out of that person. So here's what you need to think. What I do is I take out a piece of paper and I think about the 4 phases of onboarding. In other words, onboarding isn't just filling out paperwork in a 1-hour meeting. Okay, 4 phases. So you think about pre-arrival, week 1, month 1, Q1. Now, those 4 brackets aren't that interesting. What is important is what you put in each one of those phases, okay? So in the pre-arrival stage, you want to figure out how can we make this a phenomenal onboarding experience for this person. Well, if you're going to do that, maybe all that paperwork that normally happens on day 1, that all happens before they arrive so that when they get there, they can be productive quick rather than having to fill out a bunch of paperwork. Or on this side, let's say if you normally get to work and then someone's got to, say, oh, now IT's got to find the email address and then they got to connect them to the server. And so the first week people are sitting around waiting for all this connection. What if in the pre-arrival stage, all that stuff was taken care of? Or if they need business cards, all of it's taken care of. So on day 1, they're already there and ready. But let's take it to the next level. What would make it kind of a wow? Well, for example, let's say that, that relational connection is really important in any kind of company, by the way. And so if that's true, what if before they arrived, we sent them out a questionnaire and they filled out all this information about them and their likes, dislikes, backgrounds, all that kind of stuff. And then we took that and then we disseminated all that information to all of our current employees so that on day 1, when an employee walks in, let's say Bruce, walks in, people go, hey, Bruce, and then they can refer to something from that. For example, I went to University of Wisconsin. You go, oh, Wisconsin, I love that. And they did such a great job this year in football, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden now you got connection on day 1 and people feel like they're connected. So you want to start thinking about what can we do pre-arrival that would make this a real wow for this person and for them to feel like they're part of a team and they're going to be productive quickly, right? So get all that other stuff done like the technology ahead of time. Then in week 1, notice I said week 1, I didn't say day 1. So you don't want to think of just a day, you don't want to think of just a quick meeting. In that first week, what can we do to make them feel like they're a valuable part of our team? And you start thinking about ideas. Well, let's just say you want to have the whole team meet them on day 1. Now, if you do this right in the pre-arrival and you ask some questions like, are you a cake person? Are you a pie person? Or are you a healthy food nut? And whichever one you decide on, by the way, what's your favorite in that category? So if I say I'm a cake person, I say I love German chocolate cake, or I like carrot cake, or I like cheesecake. By the way, I like all of those options. And I wrote any of those down, or more than one of those things down. And then I came in on Monday, and let's say at 10 a.m. I'm meeting all the employees, and I walk in the room, and then there's German chocolate cake or carrot cake or something like that. I know that you actually asked a question, which means that you like systems. That tells me a lot. And you prepared for me, and you just didn't give me the generic stuff you give to every employee. You actually thought about me personally, and somebody had to make sure that this was here on that first day. Like, that's a pretty wow for most people. And then you start thinking about who do they need to connect with that first week, and how can we build them relationally so they're connected? What do they need to know in terms of their expectations? What kind of training needs to happen in that first week? But then again, in week 1, some companies do this, they put all the training into that first week so that they can, quote, be productive moving on. But if you're really thinking about 4 stages, then maybe some of the stuff that you currently might throw in week 1, which is like overkill because no one can endure that much information, maybe you need to put some of that into month 1 because you're not thinking about all the training has to be done in week 1. You think month 1, well, now we can parcel that out, so now this person can actually do some work rather than spending all this time learning in week 1. Because now we're thinking in 4 phases, we're not thinking in really 1 phase, which is like day 1 or week 1. So what can you do in that first week to allow that person to feel like they're really being productive? And then when you go to the 3rd phase and you're starting to think about that first month, what kinds of things could you do there? Maybe you're going to set out and develop a 90-day plan for them. Maybe you're laying out a training track for them. What are the things that they need to know? Maybe you're sending them out of their salesperson on sales calls with some of your best salespeople during that first month, right? You're not assuming that they can just go out and do it on their own, but you're really training them. How can you seed them with some really high probability people that would convert quickly so they can feel like they get some quick wins? Same thing with your marketing people, with your programming people, etc. So what can you do in that first month so that they feel connected to people, they have the right training that they need, they're meeting with their managers or whoever's going to be developing them on a regular basis, they're getting feedback. And then again, you do the same thing on Q1. Same kinds of questions are going to keep coming up, but you're not thinking about a day or a week, you're now thinking about 3 months. How can we parcel this out so that 3 months from now, this person is highly effective, highly productive, and they're feeling like they love our team? Because if you do this right, your retention soars, happiness and morale soar, productivity soars. Everything gets better by you thinking in terms of 4 phases rather than thinking of paperwork and a 1-hour meeting. So what can you do now in these 4 phases to begin to develop a wow program of onboarding? Now, you don't have to get it perfect, right? You hear me say all the time here at BizScalers and Wired to Grow, we always talk about the fact that you build your plane in flight. So just start this next employee with a little bit better than you've done in the past, and each time you keep perfecting it, keep working on it. And so maybe 6 months or a year, 2 years from now, you're gonna have a phenomenal onboarding process, and people are gonna love working for you, and they're gonna be productive faster. So think 4 phases and it'll change everything. So hopefully this gave you some things to think about in terms of your own business. And I hope you understand that week in and week out, I'm committed to helping you become better at your job. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe now to our YouTube channel. I'll keep giving you some more information. And if you want some more information about onboarding, I encourage you to check out bizscalers.com. And in BizScalers, we have an entire course on onboarding. This is just a little introduction to those 4 phases. And then we'll give you a lot more of the details later on. So regardless, look forward to talking to you the next time. To your accelerated success, Bruce out.